Hey, before this video starts, I just want to mention if the audio sounds off in any way, that's because I'm not at home right now and so I don't have my proper setup. So please just bear with it if the audio doesn't sound as good as per usual. Have you ever consumed any type of media which has ever punched you in the gut? I sure have. Whether it has been music like Mirror by Porter Robinson, which encapsulates the feeling of social anxiety, impostor syndrome, poor mental health, depression, and other types of mental issues incredibly well, or a movie such as today's topic, that being the movie Belle. Belle is a critically acclaimed movie by esteemed director Mamoru Hosoda, who has made some of the most respected movies in animation, such as A Girl Who Leapt Through Time, which I personally still have on my to-watch list, as well as movies like Summer War and Wolf Children, which are two of my favorite movies of all time, with Wolf Children being the first anime movie I ever watched, and is to this day one of my favorite movies. Hosoda's movies are all known for having deeper, more thought-provoking meanings, and topics are still made to be entertaining even if you don't think deeply about the media which you consume. In this case, you might wonder what makes Belle so great. Let me explain as much as possible with as few spoilers as possible. I always try to make my videos as spoiler-free as I can while still explaining what makes the content my videos are about so special. But do keep in mind that there will still be some spoilers, however I try to keep it to a minimum. Belle is a movie about the girl named Suzu from the countryside in Japan who lives with her father. She grew up writing and performing music with the help of her mother, however after her mother passed away she struggles with singing and performing. And before we proceed, I just want to mention that what hellscape of a karaoke room has this many mics? I cannot and do not want to imagine what that karaoke room sounds like, because anyone in there cannot be enjoying the time in there with that many people singing at once. I'd want to get out of there ASAP if I was there. Holy no thank you. Her friend one day sends her a link to this app which, with the help of a pair of headphones, can scan your inner feelings and personality to make you an avatar in a VR world called You. Suzu quickly realizes that in this VR world she can sing and perform her music freely with no issues, which she can't in the real world, and falls in love with it due to this. She quickly becomes popular and gets to perform her music all the time in this world. However, one day she meets a boy with a dragon-like avatar, who everyone calls the Beast. However, whilst everyone dislikes the Beast, Suzu sees something else in him. The movie is very clearly inspired by some Disney movies, especially by The Beauty and the Beast, and even has an entire subplot inspired by said movie, which, ironically enough, I saw for the first time last summer with my siblings. The movie has multiple Disney-esque musical scenes, which all have some fantastic music, and the soundtrack as a whole is absolutely fantastic. The soundtrack is written primarily by Taisei Iwasaki, who also writes the soundtrack for beloved anime such as Kekai Sensen, also known as Blood Blockade Battlefront. Iwasaki wrote the soundtrack along with Ludwig Forssell, who also... wait, hold on. Ludwig Forssell. Oh my fucking god, it's a non-English name I can pronounce correctly for once. Holy shit! Ludwig Forssell is also the audio director at Kojima Productions and has also written the soundtrack for Death Stranding. Oh, and the fun fact, I actually got to watch the movie thanks to music producer Voia, who set up a watch together for the movie that I happened to join, so shout out to Voia. I highly recommend the Future Song album as well as Dead Set Radio, as that's a banger single. The soundtrack was, according to Milan Records, the record label for the music in the movie, originally written in Japanese. However, for all of my fellow dub enjoyers out there, it has been translated and was translated very well into English. The English version of the soundtrack has been on repeat for me whenever I've been listening to music recently. Also, another fun fact relating to that, which Voia taught me, is that melodies are written in languages, which makes it so that if you translate a song from one language to another, the melody will be slightly off no matter how good the translation is. Which may lead to the dubbed version of the song feeling a slight bit off, as that is just how melodies work, which in hindsight does make sense, but for people like me who don't really think that deeply about things like that, it makes for a really interesting fact. Belle's soundtrack does a fantastic job at bringing out the emotions incredibly well, and will have a big part in making you cry when watching this movie. Luckily, I had a cat to cuddle with while watching this movie, which helped me from crying for most of it thanks to some warm hugs, but once she got tired of my hugging, she left and the floodgates opened once the first few notes of the end credits theme started playing. My personal favorite themes in the soundtrack are You by J-pop group Millennium Parade, Slingshot, and A Million Miles Away, but the entire soundtrack as a whole is worth listening to, so I highly recommend checking it out. The movie captures the feelings of grieving over someone close to you who was lost, the feelings of wanting to help someone else who is in the need of help, and the feelings of trauma incredibly well. The characters in the movie are fantastic and incredibly well written. All of the characters are incredibly interesting and showcase their personalities and emotions very well, not only from what they say but also from the actions they make and the animation in itself. On top of this, I have to say that the idea of making the real world in the movie a 2D animated world and the VR world of you 3D animated brings a lot of personality to each world, as well as how the characters are portrayed in each world. I watched the movie in Japanese and the voice acting performances from the entire cast was stellar. I normally talk about the dub cast as well in my videos, as a lot of dubs tend to generally be enjoyed less by most people, and while I cannot say anything for certain as I have not seen the dub in this case, I have to say from just looking at the cast that it has some great talent in it, and is probably great. I can say that the English version of the soundtrack is absolutely amazing. In Belle we get to see how our past as people shape who we are as individuals in different ways. Whilst a traumatic past might make one person go out of their way to do the right thing, for others it might make others give up on hope for a better life, or that things might get better in the future when something bad happens. This is also a big part in what makes You so special in the movie, as it is presented as a place where people can go to start a new life separate from their real life world. A place where they can be whoever they want to be, whether it is a superhero, a singer, or even a martial artist. We are shown that someone who might be considered special, beautiful, and talented in You could just be your typical country girl in the real world, and this is all a big part of what makes the film so special. We all have our own pasts, our own traumatic experiences, as well as our own inspirations and hope, and all of these things shape who we are today. One such fact is that if it wasn't for the fact that I burned my hand as a kid, I probably wouldn't have a fear of fire, which I do. And that is one of the many things from my past that has shaped me as a person. This is something that goes for most of us, if not all of us, which are things that are in our own ways kind of beautiful in a sense. The movie does a great job at capturing the fact that we all are who we are because of our pasts as well as the actions that we take and have taken previously in our life, and it is something we all should be able to reflect on both fondly and negatively. Sometimes those past experiences, especially traumatic ones, can make us scared of certain things. It might make us fear certain aspects of our lives that we otherwise wouldn't, and how we face that fear is entirely different. Some of us might just turn back to it, whilst others might face it and just embrace it. With all of that said, that is my opinions on the movie and my reflection on what makes the movie so great, at least in my opinion. I am really happy I got the opportunity to watch this movie, and I'm thankful I got to watch the movie with the group of people I got to watch it with, as it was a great time. And hey, if you have seen the movie, feel free to leave your opinions on it down in the comment section below, whether you agree with me or not. With all of that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video and wish you all a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.